A billionaire dining alone, a starving boy carrying his sister. One glance changes everything. Those blue eyes mirror his own. What secret did his lost love take to the grave? If this story touched your heart, hit like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Wellington's like bullets, each drop distorting the Manhattan skyline into abstract smears of light. Marcus Wellington sat alone at his usual corner table, the one perpetually reserved, perpetually empty, swirling 40-year-old scotch in a crystal tumbler. The amber liquid caught the candlelight, throwing fractured patterns across the white tablecloth. He was 45 years old, impeccably dressed in an Armani suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent, salt and pepper hair styled to casual perfection, and utterly, devastatingly alone around him. The restaurant hummed with Manhattan's elite, hedge fund managers laughing too loudly, socialites picking at $18 salads, a Broadway actress hiding behind oversized sunglasses despite the late hour. Everyone belonged to someone, somewhere. Marcus belonged only to the silence that followed him like a shadow. Pathetic, he muttered into his glass, taking another sip. The scotch burned, but not enough to fill the hollow space in his chest. Movement caught his eye, a disturbance near the entrance. A boy, no more than 10 years old, was pushing through the heavy glass doors, soaked to the bone. His grey hoodie hung 3 sizes too large on his thin frame, and his sneakers were split at the seams, water pooling with each step. But it wasn't the boy that made Marcus's heart stutter. It was the child in his arms. A little girl, maybe 3 years old, wrapped in a threadbare blanket. Her face was pressed against the boy's shoulder, but Marcus could see her eyes. Impossibly large, impossibly blue. The same shade of blue he saw every morning in the mirror. The maitre d' rushed forward, expression pinched with professional disapproval. A waiter whispered something to another, both glancing nervously at Marcus. The boy stood frozen in the center of the dining room, water dripping onto the imported Italian marble, his arms trembling under the weight of his sister. Then he started walking directly toward Marcus. Every eye in the restaurant followed him. Conversations died, forks paused mid-air. The boy stopped at Marcus's table. Up close, he looked even worse. Hollowed cheeks, shadows deep as bruises beneath his eyes, lips cracked from cold, but his gaze was steady. "Fierce, sir." The word came out barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of desperation. "Please, can we sit here just for a little bit, my sister? She's really hungry." Marcus opened his mouth to refuse, to call security, to do what any sensible restaurant owner would do when street children invaded his establishment. But then the little girl lifted her head. Those eyes! God, those eyes! And there, on her left temple, a crescent-shaped birthmark, exactly like his. The room tilted. "How did you get in here?" Marcus heard himself ask, his voice softer than intended. "The back door, sir." The boy swallowed hard. "I know we shouldn't be here, I know. But it's been 3 days since Lily ate anything real, and I tried the shelters, but they only serve at 6, and we got there late today, and I—" His voice cracked. Tears threatened but didn't fall. The boy was holding them back through sheer force of will. Marcus stared at the child, at Lily, and something ancient and primal stirred in his chest. Recognition, not memory, but something deeper, cellular. "Sit down," the boy blinked. "What?" "Sit." Marcus gestured to the empty chairs across from him. "Tell me what you want to eat." For 3 full seconds the boy didn't move, as if the chairs might vanish if he reached for them. Then slowly he lowered himself into the seat, settling his sister in his lap. She was so small, so heartbreakingly small. Marcus raised one hand. Immediately, 3 waiters materialized. "Bring them soup." The butternut squash, fresh bread, roasted chicken, mashed potatoes. He paused, looking at the children. "Hot chocolate." Lily's eyes widened. She nodded, a tiny movement. 2 hot chocolates." The waiters scattered. Across the dining room, the actress had removed her sunglasses, watching with undisguised curiosity. The hedge fund managers had stopped laughing. Even the pianist had shifted to something softer, more melancholy. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "Tyler, sir. Tyler Mitchell." The boy carefully adjusted his sister in his lap. "This is Lily." Mitchell. The name hit Marcus like a fist to the sternum. His vision swam. The Scotch glass nearly slipped from his fingers. Sarah Mitchell, his first love, the woman who'd vanished from his life 11 years ago without explanation, without goodbye, the woman whose ghost had haunted every relationship since, including his spectacular failure of a marriage to Victoria, the woman he'd never stopped loving, even when he'd tried to bury her memory under money and meaningless distractions. "Your parents," Marcus managed. His throat tight, Tyler's gaze dropped. "Our mum died 6 months ago." The pain in the boy's voice was fresh, raw. Marcus knew that kind of grief. He'd felt it the day Sarah disappeared. "Your father." "Never had one." Tyler wiped Lily's mouth with the edge of his hoodie. "Mum said he was a good man, but he couldn't stay, that he had another world." Another world. Marcus's hands shook. He set down his glass carefully, afraid he might shatter it. The food arrived, steaming, fragrant, impossibly abundant. Tyler stared at it like he'd forgotten food could look this way. He fed Lily first, tiny spoonfuls of soup, murmuring encouragement. Only after she'd eaten half the bowl did he take a bite himself. Marcus couldn't look away from the little girl, from those blue eyes, from the birthmark that was a mirror of his own. "Where are you staying?" "Shelters, mostly." Tyler shrugged, trying to appear strong. "Sometimes Hope House on 7th, other times the subway station. It's not so bad. I take care of Lily, 10 years old, carrying the entire world on shoulders that should have been carrying a backpack full of homework." "Tyler," Marcus leaned forward, "I want to help you, both of you. You can stay in a hotel tonight, my treat, and tomorrow we'll figure out what comes next." Suspicion flickered across Tyler's face. "Why? Why would you help us? Because I think she's mine, because I let the woman I love disappear, because I have everything and you have nothing, because everyone deserves a chance," Marcus said instead. "And you two deserve more than this." Tyler hesitated, searching Marcus's face for lies, for traps. Finally, he nodded. Lily fell asleep in her brother's arms. Her face relaxed for the first time. Full and warm, Marcus watched them and felt certainty settle in his bones like ice. "I'm going to find the truth, and if she's mine, I'm never letting her go." Behind a marble column 20 feet away, half hidden in shadow, a woman with platinum blonde hair watched the scene unfold. Her designer dress cost more than Tyler's entire life. Her manicured nails tapped against her wineglass with mechanical precision. Victoria Wellington, Marcus's ex-wife, did not like what she was seeing, not one bit. Marcus didn't sleep. At 3 in the morning, he sat in his Tribeca penthouse office, staring at a photograph he kept buried in the bottom drawer of his mahogany desk. Sarah Mitchell at 23, graduation day, cap tilted at a rakish angle, brown hair cascading past her shoulders, her honey-colored eyes crinkled with laughter. God, that smile! It could light up a room, a city, an entire life. "Why did you leave?" he whispered to the photograph. "Why didn't you tell me?" By 6 a.m., he was on the phone with his lawyer. "Leonard, I need you to investigate 2 children. Tyler and Lily Mitchell, I want everything. Birth certificates, medical records, social services reports, everything." 3 hours later, Marcus stood outside room 412 of the Paramount Hotel, shopping bags weighing down both arms. Tyler answered the door, shock registering across his exhausted face. "Mr. Wellington?" "Good morning, Tyler." Marcus entered without waiting for invitation, setting bags of new clothes and toys on the dresser. "Brought you some things." Lily sat cross-legged on the king-sized bed, looking impossibly tiny among the pillows, when she saw Marcus, her face transformed, a shy, sweet smile that made his heart stumble. "Hi," she said, voice like wind chimes. "Hi, sweetheart." Marcus knelt beside the bed, eye level with her. "Sleep well?" She nodded, clutching a stuffed teddy bear he'd tucked into one of the bags. Tyler watched from the doorway, wariness written in every line of his body. "Sir, I don't understand. Why are you doing this?" Marcus exhaled slowly. "Because I knew your mother, Tyler, a long time ago." The boy's eyes went wide. "You knew her?" "I did." Marcus smiled, but it hurt. "She was special." Tyler rushed to his backpack, rummaging through it with trembling hands. He returned, clutching a battered shoebox, overflowing with photographs and papers. Look, this is her." Marcus took the photo with fingers that wouldn't quite steady. Sarah, older than in his treasured graduation picture, silver threading through her hair. Fine lines around her eyes, but still beautiful, still her. She held a baby in her arms. Lily, unmistakably in the background. He recognized the ballroom of the Boston Continental Hotel 4 years ago. Memory crashed through him like a tidal wave. The charity gala his company had sponsored. Victoria had stayed in New York, claiming a migraine. He'd gotten drunk, too drunk, drowning in the misery of his disintegrating marriage. There'd been a woman at the bar, a brief conversation, a hotel room, fragmented memories lost to alcohol and despair. Sarah, they'd found each other again, and he'd been too wasted to even know it. And she'd gotten pregnant. "Can I keep this?" Marcus asked, voice barely functional. Tyler nodded. Marcus tucked the photograph into his inner jacket pocket, close to his heart, and made a silent vow to the woman in the picture. Over the following days, Marcus visited Tyler and Lily constantly. Central Park carousel rides, where Lily squealed with delight. The Natural History Museum, where Tyler asked 1,000 questions about dinosaurs and stars. Ice cream shops, where both children ate their cones slowly, reverently, like they were afraid the sweetness might disappear. For the first time in years, Marcus laughed, really laughed. Tyler was brilliant, curious, sharp, asking about architecture and business and how things worked. Marcus recognized genius being suffocated by survival. Lily was gentle and quiet, but she attached herself to Marcus with fierce determination. She held his hand during walks, called him Uncle Marcus with perfect trust. Every smile felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. But the storm was gathering. Leonard arrived at Marcus's office 7 days after that first rain-soaked encounter, carrying a manila folder thick with documents. "Marcus," Leonard's expression was grave. "Sarah Mitchell died of pancreatic cancer 6 months ago. She didn't have adequate insurance. She suffered terribly at the end." Marcus's hands clenched into fists. "The children. Tyler isn't her biological son. Sarah rescued him from a neglect situation when he was 5 and raised him informally, never had the resources to make it legal." Leonard paused, letting the weight settle. "But Lily, there's an 87% genetic compatibility with you, Marcus." The world tilted on its axis. "She's my daughter." "Yes." Marcus buried his face in his hands. Shoulders shaking, Sarah had his child and never told him. Why? The answer came 3 days later, when he tracked down Sarah's former neighbor in Boston, an elderly Chinese woman named Mrs. Chen, who served him tea in her cramped kitchen. "Sarah was too proud to ask for help," Mrs. Chen said, her accent thick but her English precise. "She knew you were married. She said you had your own life. She didn't want to interfere." "But I would have helped." Marcus's voice broke. "I would have done anything." Mrs. Chen shook her head sadly. "She knew that, and she was afraid you'd try to take Lily from her, afraid your family had too much power." The old woman's gaze was piercing. "She was right to be afraid, wasn't she?" Marcus couldn't answer, because she was right. Victoria, his ex-wife, rich, powerful, vindictive. If she discovered Lily. No, he wouldn't let that happen. Marcus returned to New York with steel in his spine. He'd hire the best lawyers, get legal custody of Lily, and Tyler too, because separating the siblings would be monstrous. But he didn't account for Victoria's surveillance. That was his first mistake. His second was underestimating her cruelty. Victoria Wellington sipped her morning espresso in her Park Avenue penthouse, city sprawling beneath her like a conquered kingdom. Her phone buzzed. David, her private investigator. "Mrs. Wellington, I have the information you requested." Victoria smiled coldly. "Continue." "Marcus is involved with 2 street children, a 10-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. They're the offspring of a deceased woman named Sarah Mitchell." David paused for effect. "And there's strong evidence the girl is Marcus's biological daughter." The espresso cup fell from Victoria's hand. Porcelain shattered across Italian tile. Dark liquid spreading like blood. "Say that again." "The girl, Lily Mitchell, shows genetic markers consistent with Marcus. Same eye color, same birthmark. The biological mother was Sarah Mitchell, Marcus's college girlfriend." Rage, white-hot and consuming, flooded Victoria's veins. Sarah, that ghost, that spectre who'd haunted their entire marriage. The woman Marcus had never stopped loving, even when he'd spoken his wedding vows. Victoria had always known Marcus didn't truly love her. He'd married for convenience, for family pressure, for loneliness, but never for love. Not the way he'd loved Sarah. And now Sarah had left behind a poisoned gift. "Oh, daughter, I want you to dig deeper," Victoria said, her voice ice. "Everything about these children, everything about Sarah's life, and I want proof that Marcus is unfit to raise them." "Yes, ma'am." Victoria ended the call and stared out at the city, her reflection ghostly in the window glass. "He won't have them. He won't build a happy family from her leftovers. I'll make sure of that." Across the city, something unexpected was happening. Jennifer Parker, the social worker assigned to Tyler and Lily's case, sat across from Marcus in his restaurant office. She was 38, with short brown hair, wire-rimmed glasses, and a kind smile that suggested she'd seen every tragedy humanity could offer and still believed in redemption. "Mr. Wellington, I need to understand your intentions." She studied him carefully. "Tyler and Lily are in temporary state custody. You can't simply adopt them without going through proper legal channels." "I understand." Marcus leaned forward, elbows on his desk. "And I'm willing to do whatever's necessary. Psychological evaluations, home visits, parenting classes, everything." Jennifer tilted her head. "Why these children? Mr. Wellington, New York has thousands of children needing homes." Marcus took a breath. "Because Lily is my daughter, and because Tyler has been caring for her alone for 6 months, when he should have been playing and going to school. He deserves a home. They both deserve one." Jennifer was silent for a long moment. "Do you have any idea how this will change your life?" "I do." Marcus smiled, and it was genuine. "And I want that change." Jennifer nodded slowly. "I'll recommend you begin the temporary custody process. But I need to warn you, there will be resistance. Ex-spouses often create problems in these cases, and you're a public figure." "I know." Marcus's jaw set. "But I won't give up." Jennifer stood to leave. At the door, she turned back. "Mr. Wellington, I believe you. I don't know why, but I do." She smiled. "Let's bring these children home." Marcus felt hope for the first time in years, but the storm was just beginning. That evening, Tyler and Lily were transferred to a temporary foster home while legal proceedings advanced. Marcus could visit, but couldn't take them home yet. Tyler was anxious, his thin shoulders rigid with tension. "Uncle Marcus, we'll stay together, right?" He held Lily tighter. "They won't separate us, will they?" "Never!" Marcus knelt before them. "I swear to you both you'll stay together with me." Lily wrapped her small arms around his neck, burying her face in his shoulder. "I like you, Uncle Marcus." Marcus felt tears burn behind his eyes. "I like you too, sweetheart, more than I ever imagined possible." When he left the foster home that night, something fundamental shifted inside him. He wasn't just Marcus Wellington, lonely billionaire anymore. He was a father, and nothing, absolutely nothing, would stop him from protecting his children. But Victoria was preparing her assault, and Marcus had no idea how vicious she could be. The first bomb detonated 3 weeks later. Marcus was reviewing quarterly reports when his phone lit up. Leonard's name flashed across the screen, and Marcus's stomach dropped before he even answered. "We have a problem, a big one." "What happened?" "Victoria's filed a motion claiming you're unfit to care for children. She's assembled witnesses, fabricated psychological reports, and—" Leonard's pause was excruciating. "She's alleging you have a history of alcoholism and irresponsible behavior." Marcus felt ice flood his veins. "That's a lie." "I know, but she has evidence. Photos of you at parties years ago, old interviews where you mentioned drinking to cope with the divorce. She's twisted everything. Can she actually do this? She's rich and well-connected. Marcus, she can try anything. Marcus hung up with shaking hands. Victoria wasn't just trying to prevent him from getting custody. She was trying to destroy him. The second bomb dropped 2 days later. Newspapers exploded with sensationalist headlines. Billionaire attempts to buy orphan children, Marcus Wellington, savior or opportunist. Ex-wife alleges irresponsible parenting. The articles were brutal. Victoria had given interviews painting Marcus as emotionally unstable, claiming he'd never wanted children during their marriage, suggesting he was using Tyler and Lily to rehabilitate his public image. Marcus read every word, feeling something inside him crumble. How could she? But the worst part was still coming. Jennifer was summoned to an emergency meeting with the Director of Social Services, a stern man with thick glasses named Director Hayes. "Miss Parker, we've received serious allegations about the Wellington case." Hayes folded his hands on his desk. "Claims that Mr. Wellington is attempting to manipulate the system for financial gain." "That's absurd," Jennifer shot to her feet. "I know Marcus Wellington. He genuinely loves those children. Nevertheless, we must investigate, and in the interim—" Hayes's expression hardened. "Tyler and Lily will be transferred to a foster home in Albany, away from Manhattan." Jennifer went pale. "You can't do this. Separating the children from Marcus now will traumatize them." "We have no choice. The legal process demands it." Jennifer left the meeting with her heart in pieces. When Marcus heard the news, he drove immediately to the foster home. Tyler was devastated, tears streaming down his face. "They're taking us away. Did we do something wrong, Uncle Marcus?" "No, no, no." Marcus pulled the boy into his arms. "You did nothing wrong. This is my fault. I should have protected you better." Lily clutched her teddy bear, confusion clouding her blue eyes. "Uncle Marcus isn't coming with us." Marcus felt his heart shatter. "Not this time, sweetheart, but I'm going to fight for you. I promise I'll bring you back." Tyler searched Marcus's face, desperate for truth. "You promise?" "I promise." But Tyler was afraid this was just another broken promise from another adult who would disappear. 2 days later, Tyler and Lily were transferred to Albany. Marcus tried to visit, but was informed visits were temporarily suspended while the case was under review. He returned to his Connecticut mansion alone. The rooms he'd decorated for the children, filled with toys, books, bright colors, stood silent and abandoned. Marcus sat on the floor of Lily's room and wept. "I failed them, just like I failed Sarah." Jennifer fought politically within the system, but encountered resistance at every turn. Victoria had powerful influence, and worse, Marcus was beginning to doubt himself. What if Victoria's right? What if I'm not capable of being a father? What if I ruin everything again? It was Jennifer who found him drowning in despair 3 weeks after the children's removal. She knocked on his Connecticut door on a freezing December evening. "Mr. Wellington, may I come in?" Marcus opened the door. He looked 10 years older, unshaven, hollow-eyed, clothes wrinkled. "I failed, Jennifer." His voice was barely audible. "I lost them." Jennifer entered, her spine steel. "Not yet, but you will if you give up now." Marcus shook his head. "Victoria's right. I don't know how to be a father." "Bullshit." Jennifer gripped his shoulders. "You love those children. And Tyler knows it, Lily knows it, and I know it." She took a breath. "But love isn't enough, Marcus. You need to fight. You need to prove Victoria is lying." "How?" Jennifer smiled for the first time in weeks. "By finding the truth." The investigation began quietly. Jennifer assembled a small team. Leonard, Marcus's lawyer, David Chen, an honest private investigator, and herself. They started digging into the past. First, they revisited Sarah's history. Mrs. Chen revealed something crucial. There was a woman who came looking for Sarah years ago, elegant blonde. She offered Sarah money to disappear from Marcus's life. Sarah refused, but she was frightened. That's when she moved to the suburbs and cut all contact. "This woman, did she give a name?" Leonard asked. "Victoria something. She left a business card. Mrs. Chen produced it from an old photo album, yellowed with age. Victoria Wellington. Corporate investments. Proof. David Chen found more. Drivers, security personnel, assistants Victoria had hired years ago to monitor Sarah. Some agreed to testify with legal protection. Meanwhile, Tyler and Lily suffered in Albany. Tyler grew withdrawn and silent. Lily cried every night asking for Uncle Marcus, the foster home coordinator. A kind woman named Margaret documented everything in her official diary, a document Jennifer could access legally. "These children are regressing emotionally," Margaret wrote. "The separation from Mr. Wellington is causing visible psychological harm." Jennifer used the report as ammunition. She called an emergency hearing, arguing that keeping the children from Marcus was detrimental to their well-being. The hearing took place on a bitter January morning. Victoria attended, flanked by expensive lawyers. Marcus sat across the aisle with Leonard and Jennifer. Judge Hamilton, an elderly man with a severe gaze, reviewed the submitted documents. "Mrs. Wellington," he addressed Victoria directly, "you allege Marcus Wellington is unfit to care for children, but the reports before me show he's never been diagnosed with alcoholism, has no history of violence, and possesses more than adequate resources to provide a stable home." Victoria maintained her composure. "With respect, Your Honor, financial resources don't guarantee emotional stability. Marcus has always been a volatile. He married me out of convenience and never demonstrated interest in family. And yet," Leonard interjected, "you actively attempted to destroy his relationship with Sarah Mitchell over a decade ago, using intimidation and money." Victoria paled. That's a lie." Leonard presented the testimonies, the business cards, the proof. "Your Honor, Victoria Wellington stalked Sarah Mitchell out of jealousy. She attempted to buy Sarah's silence. When that failed, she threatened her. Sarah lived in fear for years, and that contributed to her decision never to contact Marcus about the pregnancy." Judge Hamilton raised his eyebrows. "Is this true, Mrs. Wellington?" Victoria remained silent. Her lawyer tried to intervene, but the judge raised his hand. "I'll review this case more carefully. Hearing adjourned for 2 weeks." Marcus felt a flicker of hope, but it wasn't over. Victoria stormed out of the courthouse. In the parking garage, she cornered Marcus. "You think you'll win this?" she hissed. "You think you can have a happy family with those wretched children?" Marcus looked at her with cold clarity. "They're not wretched, they're brave, and they deserve more than you could ever understand." "You loved me once," Victoria's voice cracked, genuine pain breaking through. "I know you did." "No." Marcus's response was calm. "I never loved you, Victoria. I married you because I was lost, because Sarah disappeared and I thought I'd never find real love again. But I was wrong, because Sarah left something precious in this world. She left Lily and Tyler, and now I finally have a chance to make things right." Victoria stared at him with hatred, but also resignation. She knew she'd lost, not just the case, but Marcus, forever. Meanwhile, Jennifer visited Tyler and Lily in Albany. "Is Uncle Marcus coming to get us?" Tyler asked, trying not to hope too much. "He is," Jennifer answered firmly. "He hasn't given up on you, not for 1 second." Lily hugged Jennifer tightly. "Will you stay with us too?" Jennifer felt tears in her eyes. "If you want me to, I'd love to be part of your lives." Tyler smiled for the first time in weeks. Something was shifting. Truth was rising to the surface. And justice, finally, was coming. The final hearing convened 2 weeks later in a packed courtroom. Reporters, curious onlookers, child welfare advocates. Everyone wanted to witness the conclusion of the Wellington case. Marcus was nervous, but Jennifer held his hand firmly. "Breathe," she whispered. "The truth is on our side." Judge Hamilton entered and everyone rose. "Be seated." He adjusted his glasses and surveyed the room. "This is a delicate case involving vulnerable children, questions of paternity, and serious allegations from both parties. My role is to ensure the best interests of the children, always." He paused. "I've heard all testimonies, reviewed all evidence, and I've reached a conclusion. Absolute silence. Mrs. Victoria Wellington. The judge looked at her sternly. You attempted to manipulate this court with baseless accusations. You stalked Sarah Mitchell, intimidated her, and directly contributed to her estrangement from Marcus Wellington. Your actions were cruel and selfish. Victoria closed her eyes. Furthermore, the judge continued, the evidence you presented regarding Marcus Wellington's emotional instability was fabricated or distorted. Photos from social events don't constitute proof of alcoholism. Old interviews about emotional difficulties don't prove parental unfitness. He turned to Marcus. Mr. Wellington, Sarah Mitchell never told you about Lily. That's fact, but not because you were irresponsible. She was afraid of losing her daughter, afraid of the Wellington family's power. And that fear was fed by your ex-wife's actions. Marcus nodded, overcome. You've demonstrated genuine commitment to these children. You've provided resources, time, and love. Social worker Jennifer Parker has attested to your character. And most importantly, the judge picked up a document. The children themselves have expressed their desire to stay with you. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. Therefore, the judge's gavel fell. I grant provisional legal custody of Lily Mitchell and Tyler Mitchell to Marcus Wellington, with possibility of formal adoption after a 6-month evaluation period. The courtroom erupted. Victoria stood abruptly and left. Her lawyers scrambling behind her. Marcus couldn't move. Jennifer embraced him hard. You did it, she whispered. You brought them home. 3 hours later, Marcus stood in the Albany foster home. Tyler and Lily spotted him and ran, screaming, Uncle Marcus! Lily launched herself into his arms. Tyler wrapped his arms around Marcus's waist, sobbing, You came back. You really came back. Marcus knelt and held both children with all his strength. I promised, didn't I? I promised I'd bring you back. And now you're coming home with me forever. Tyler's voice broke. Together, me and Lily. Always, Marcus vowed. You're siblings, and no one will ever separate you. Lily kissed Marcus's cheek. I love you, Uncle Marcus. Marcus's heart exploded with emotion. I love you too, sweetheart. I love you both, more than anything. Jennifer watched with tears of joy. Margaret, the coordinator, smiled too. They're going to a good home, I know it. That night, Marcus drove back to Connecticut with Tyler and Lily asleep in the back seat. Jennifer came with them when they arrived at the mansion. Marcus carried Lily in his arms while Tyler held his hand. This is it, Marcus said, opening the door. Welcome home. The rooms were exactly as he'd left them, colorful, warm, filled with love. Tyler explored every corner with wide eyes. This is real. It's real, Marcus answered. And now it's yours. Lily was already asleep again. Marcus placed her in bed, covered her with the soft blanket, and kissed her forehead. Good night, my daughter, he whispered. Tyler stood in the doorway watching. Uncle Marcus, can I ask you something? Always. Could you be my real dad too? Even though I'm not your biological son, Marcus's heart clenched. He knelt before Tyler. Tyler, you're already my son. Biology doesn't matter. What matters is love, and I love you as much as I love Lily. Tyler threw himself into Marcus's arms. Crying, Thank you for not giving up on us. Marcus held him tight. I'll never give up on you. Jennifer watched from the hallway, hands over her heart. Marcus looked up and smiled at her. Want to stay for dinner? Jennifer smiled back. I'd love to. And that night, for the first time in years, Marcus Wellington wasn't alone. He had a family, and finally, he was home. 6 months later. The Connecticut mansion was unrecognizable, where silence had reigned. Laughter now echoed. Where emptiness had sprawled, life bloomed. Tyler excelled at his new private school, top of his class. Voracious for knowledge, brilliant and curious. Marcus spent hours helping with science projects, and Tyler treasured every second. Lily attended a nearby kindergarten. She was joyful, talkative, making friends easily. Every drawing she brought home was displayed proudly on the refrigerator, and Jennifer had become essential. She joined them for dinner 3 times weekly, helped Tyler with homework, read bedtime stories to Lily, talked with Marcus for hours about everything and nothing. Slowly, something grew between them, not just gratitude, real connection. One evening, after putting the children to bed, Marcus and Jennifer sat on the terrace under a canopy of stars. "You saved my life," Marcus said suddenly. Jennifer smiled. "I think you saved your own life. I just showed you the path." "No," Marcus turned to her. "You believed in me when no one else did. You fought for us, for Tyler, for Lily, for me." Jennifer blushed. "I did what was right." "You did more than that." Marcus took her hand. "You showed me what real love is. Love that fights, love that stays, love that doesn't give up." Jennifer felt tears threatening. "Marcus, I know it's too soon." Marcus smiled. "I know you probably need time, but I had to tell you. I've fallen in love with you, Jennifer." Jennifer took a shaky breath. "I've fallen in love with you too." Marcus pulled her into an embrace. They stayed there, wrapped in each other under the stars. In silence, full of promises, 2 weeks later, the adoption was finalized. Judge Hamilton presided over the ceremony in a courtroom decorated with balloons and flowers. "Marcus Wellington," he said solemnly, "do you accept Tyler Mitchell and Lily Mitchell as your legal children, assuming all responsibilities and privileges of parenthood?" "I do," Marcus answered, voice firm, "with all my heart." "And you, Tyler and Lily," the judge smiled, "do you accept Marcus Wellington as your father?" "Yes!" Lily shouted, bouncing. Tyler smiled through tears. "Yes!" The judge's gavel fell. "Then, by the authority vested in me, I declare this adoption complete and official. Congratulations, Wellington family." The small audience, Jennifer, Leonard, Mrs. Chen, Margaret, and close friends, applauded warmly. Tyler and Lily ran into Marcus's arms. "Oh, we're a real family now," Lily squealed. "We always were," Marcus whispered, "from the first day." That same week, Marcus announced another significant change. He transformed 3 of his restaurants into community centers, places where vulnerable families could eat free meals, receive legal support, and find resources to rebuild their lives. The first center was named Sarah's House, honoring the woman who'd given birth to Lily and raised Tyler with such love. At the opening, Marcus gave an emotional speech. "Sarah Mitchell was a courageous woman," he said, looking at Tyler and Lily in the front row. "She raised these 2 incredible children with limited resources, but unlimited love. She never asked for help, but she should have, because we all need help sometimes, and there's no shame in that." He breathed deeply. "This place exists so other people don't have to face alone what Sarah faced. So no child goes hungry, so no family is forgotten." The crowd applauded. Tears flowed freely. Tyler squeezed Marcus's hand hard. "Mom would have loved this," he whispered. "I know," Marcus replied. "And wherever she is, I hope she knows her children are safe, loved, and always will be." 3 months later, on a sunny autumn afternoon, Marcus took Tyler and Lily to visit Sarah's grave. It was his first time there. The headstone was simple, a modest marker in a quiet Boston cemetery. "Sarah Mitchell, beloved mother, courageous soul. Love never gives up." Marcus knelt before the stone. "Sarah," his voice broke. "I'm sorry. Sorry I didn't look for you. Sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. Sorry I never met Lily while you were alive." He placed fresh flowers on the grave. "But I promise, I'll take care of them. And Tyler and Lily will grow up knowing how much you love them, and they'll never, never forget you." Tyler also laid a flower. "Thank you for everything, Mom," he whispered. "Thank you for saving me. And for loving me, I'll never forget." Lily, still young, didn't fully understand, but she placed a drawing she'd made, stick figure family happy and smiling. "This is for you, heaven, Mommy," she said. Marcus embraced both children, and there, before the grave of the woman he'd loved and lost, Marcus finally made peace with the past. On Christmas Eve that year, Marcus made a special request. He organized an intimate dinner at home, just him. Tyler, Lily, and Jennifer after dinner, while the children were distracted opening gifts. Marcus knelt before Jennifer. "Jennifer Parker," he said, holding a small velvet box, "you transformed my life." You gave me hope when I had none. You showed me what it means to truly love, and I want to spend the rest of my life thanking you for that." He opened the box, revealing a simple, beautiful ring. "Will you marry me?" Jennifer covered her mouth, tears flowing freely. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, yes, yes." Tyler and Lily erupted in cheers. "Jennifer's going to be our mom." Lily jumped. "Technically stepmom," Tyler corrected, laughing. "But like the best stepmom ever." Jennifer laughed and cried simultaneously, embracing the children and Marcus. "I love you," she said. "All of you. My family." That night, while Tyler and Lily slept, Marcus and Jennifer sat again on the terrace. "Do you think Sarah would have approved?" Marcus asked softly. Jennifer smiled. "I think she'd be happy. Because you're giving her children everything she always wanted for them. Love, security, a home." Marcus nodded. "I still think about her every day." "And that's good," Jennifer said. "She's part of your story. Part of their story, and always will be." Marcus looked up at the stars. "Thank you, Sarah," he whispered, "for giving me Lily, for caring for Tyler, for teaching me, even in your absence, what really matters. And perhaps, from somewhere beyond the stars, Sarah smiled, because her children were safe, loved, and finally, home." 5 years later, Tyler was 15 and had just received a full scholarship to one of the nation's top universities, specializing in engineering. Marcus cried with pride the day the letter arrived. Lily, at 8, was a vibrant girl who loved dancing and painting. She called Jennifer Mom without hesitation, and Jennifer cherished every moment. Marcus and Jennifer married in a simple, beautiful ceremony, with Tyler as best man and Lily as flower girl. Sarah's house expanded to 15 locations nationwide, helping thousands of families. And Victoria, she disappeared from their lives, moved to Europe, finally accepting some battles couldn't be won. One evening, Marcus was in Tyler's room, helping him pack for summer camp. "Dad," Tyler said. He called Marcus Dad now, without hesitation. "Can I ask you something?" "Always. Do you regret anything?" Marcus thought for a moment. "I regret not looking for your mother sooner, not being there when she needed me. But I don't regret anything that happened after, because everything led me to you, and you're the best thing that ever happened in my life." Tyler smiled. "Thanks for not giving up on me and Lily, for fighting for us." Marcus embraced his son. "I'd fight 1,000 times more. You're worth everything." That night, after everyone slept, Marcus sat alone in his office. He picked up the old photo of Sarah, the one Tyler had given him years ago, and smiled. "We made it, Sarah," he whispered. "Tyler's going to university, Lily's happy, and I found love again. I hope you're proud. I hope you know. Your children are loved. They always were. They always will be." He placed the photo back in its frame and looked out the window. Outside, the night was clear. Stars blazed brilliantly, and Marcus Wellington, once a lonely billionaire, bitter and lost, was now father, husband, and hero to a small, imperfect, but deeply loved family. He found his redemption, not in money, not in success, but in love, in forgiveness, in the courage to begin again. The formal adoption ceremony had been beautiful, but what followed was even more profound. The quiet, ordinary moments that transformed a house into a home. Marcus woke each morning to the sound of Lily singing in her room, her voice high and sweet, inventing songs about butterflies and rainbows. Tyler would already be at the kitchen table, reading science journals far beyond his grade level, asking questions that made Marcus think harder than any business meeting ever had. Jennifer moved through their lives like sunlight, warm and essential. She'd officially moved into the mansion 3 months after the engagement, and her presence completed something Marcus hadn't known was fractured. One Saturday morning, Marcus found Tyler standing in front of Sarah's photograph, the one Marcus had framed and placed in the living room. "I miss her," Tyler said quietly. "Even though she wasn't my birth mom, she saved me, loved me when no one else would." Marcus stood beside him, hand on Tyler's shoulder. "She gave you the most important gift anyone can give. She chose you, That's more powerful than biology. Tyler leaned into Marcus's side. Like you chose me. Exactly like that. Lily burst into the room, face paint smeared across her cheeks, wearing a tutu and cowboy boots. Dad, Jennifer says we can make pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. Dad, the word still made Marcus's chest tighten with emotion every single time. Dinosaur pancakes sound perfect, he said, scooping her up. She giggled, wrapping her arms around his neck. In the kitchen, Jennifer was already mixing batter, flour dusting her nose. She looked up when they entered, and her smile was everything. "Ready for the Wellington family Saturday pancake extravaganza?" she asked. Tyler grinned. "Can I help with the flipping?" "Only if you promise not to launch them onto the ceiling again." That was one time. Laughter filled the kitchen, genuine, unguarded joy. Later that afternoon, Marcus made an announcement over lunch. "I want to take you all somewhere special next week," he said. "Boston. I think it's time we visit Sarah's grave together as a family." Tyler nodded solemnly. Lily looked to Jennifer for guidance. "It's important to remember where we came from," Jennifer explained gently to Lily. "Your first mommy loved you very much. We want to thank her." "Okay," Lily said, her voice small but trusting. The trip to Boston was quiet, contemplative. They stayed in a small hotel near the cemetery, nothing like the Paramount where this story had begun, at Sarah's grave. Marcus knelt and placed a bouquet of sunflowers, Sarah's favorite. "Sarah, I brought our family to meet you," he said softly. "Tyler's grown so much. He's brilliant and kind, and everything you hoped he'd be. Lily's happy, she's safe, and Jennifer—" He glanced back at his fiancée. "She's helped me become the man I should have been for you." Tyler stepped forward, placing a small rock he'd painted with Sarah's name. "Mom, I'm doing good, really good, and I'm going to make you proud, I promise." Lily, coached by Jennifer, placed a drawing of a sun. "Heaven, Mommy, this is for you, so you won't be cold." Jennifer stood back, giving them space, but Marcus reached for her hand, pulling her into the circle. "Sarah, this is Jennifer. She's going to be their mum now, too. I know you'd approve. I know you'd want them to have someone like her." The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of autumn leaves and something that felt like benediction. That evening, back at the hotel, Tyler asked, "Dad, do you think Mum can see us from heaven?" Marcus considered the question seriously. "I think if love is real, and I know it is, then it doesn't end just because someone dies. So yes, I think she sees you, and I think she's proud." Tyler smiled, satisfied. The wedding took place that December. Intimate and perfect, only close friends attended. Leonard, Mrs. Chen, Margaret, a few of Marcus's trusted colleagues, and several families from Sarah's house. Tyler stood beside Marcus as best man, wearing a suit that made him look far older than 15. Lily, in a white dress with flowers in her hair, took her role as flower girl with utmost seriousness. When Jennifer walked down the makeshift aisle in the mansion's living room, Marcus's breath caught. She wore a simple cream dress, no veil, just a wreath of winter roses in her hair. She was beautiful. The officiant, Judge Hamilton, who'd agreed to perform the ceremony, smiled warmly. "We gather today to celebrate not just a marriage, but the creation of a family. Marcus, Jennifer, Tyler, and Lily. You've already chosen each other today. You're making that choice official." Marcus and Jennifer exchanged vows they'd written themselves. "Jennifer," Marcus said, voice steady despite his emotion, "you taught me that it's never too late to become who you were meant to be. You gave me a family when I thought I'd be alone forever. I promise to honor that gift every day for the rest of my life." Jennifer's eyes shimmered. "Marcus, you showed me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's fighting for what matters despite being terrified. You fought for these children. You fought for us. And I promise to stand beside you. Always." They exchanged rings. "I now pronounce you husband and wife." The kiss was gentle, sweet, and when they turned to face their small audience, Tyler and Lily rushed forward, wrapping around their legs in a group embrace. "We're really a family now," Lily said, her voice muffled against Jennifer's dress. "We've always been a family," Jennifer replied, stroking her hair. "Today just made it official." That night, after the guests left and the children were asleep, Marcus and Jennifer stood on the terrace, their spot where so many important conversations had happened. "Happy?" Jennifer asked. "Beyond words," Marcus replied. He pulled her close, and they swayed gently to music only they could hear. "Sarah would have liked you," he said suddenly. Jennifer smiled. "I like to think I would have liked her too." They stood in comfortable silence, the weight of the past settling into something bearable, even beautiful inside. Tyler woke briefly and padded to Lily's room, checking on her as he'd done every night since their mother died. Old habits, born from necessity, hard to break. But this time, Lily was sleeping peacefully, her new teddy bear, a gift from Jennifer, clutched in her arms. Tyler smiled and returned to his own room, finally allowing himself to believe they were safe, they were home, and they were loved. 10 years after that rainy November night, Marcus Wellington stood in the audience of Mitt's graduation ceremony, watching Tyler cross the stage to receive his engineering degree. Summa cum laude. Pride didn't begin to cover what Marcus felt. It was something bigger, deeper, a bone-deep certainty that this young man would change the world. Tyler had grown into his brilliance, no longer hiding it behind survival instincts. At 25, he'd already published papers on sustainable architecture and had job offers from every major firm in the country, but he'd chosen something different. "Dad," Tyler had said months earlier, "I want to work with Sarah's house, designing affordable housing for families in need. That's where I'm meant to be." Marcus had embraced him, too moved to speak beside Marcus. Jennifer squeezed his hand. Lily, now 13, tall and graceful, cheered loudly, embarrassing her brother in the best possible way. After the ceremony, the family gathered for celebration dinner at a small Italian restaurant Tyler had chosen. "Remember when we first met?" Tyler asked, grinning at Marcus across the table. "You probably thought we were going to rob you." Marcus laughed. "I thought a lot of things. None of them were right." "You saw us," Tyler said simply. "When everyone else looked away, you saw us." "You made it impossible not to," Marcus replied. Lily, now a teenager with Sarah's honey-colored eyes and Marcus's stubborn determination, rolled her eyes affectionately. "Are you two going to get all emotional because I'm trying to eat?" "Yes," Jennifer and Marcus said simultaneously, making everyone laugh. Later, at home, Marcus found himself in his office, the same room where he'd first stared at Sarah's photograph 10 years ago. Broken and lost, the photo was still there, but now it was surrounded by others: Tyler's school pictures, Lily's dance recital photos, Jennifer on their wedding day, family vacations, birthday parties. The ordinary, extraordinary evidence of a life well lived. Tyler knocked on the doorframe. "Dad, got a minute?" "Always." Tyler entered, holding a rolled-up paper. "I wanted to show you something before I present it to the Sarah's house board." He unrolled architectural plans. Beautiful, innovative designs for a new community center in the Bronx. It'll have housing, childcare, job training, and a community kitchen, Tyler explained. "Everything Mom needed but never had. Everything no family should have to go without." Marcus studied the plans, vision blurring with tears. "Tyler, this is incredible. I'm calling it the Sarah and Lily Center," Tyler said quietly, "because Mom gave me life, and Lily, everything that happened with Lily, gave us this family." Marcus pulled Tyler into a fierce embrace. "Your mother would be so proud. I'm so proud. I learned from the best," Tyler said. "You showed me what it means to fight for family, to not give up, to choose love, even when it's hard." They stayed like that for a long moment, father and son in every way that mattered. Downstairs, Jennifer was helping Lily with algebra homework, both of them laughing at a joke Marcus couldn't hear. Lily's voice drifted up. "Mom, do you think Dad would help me? He's better at math. He'd love to. Go ask him." Lily bounded up the stairs and burst into the office. "Dad, I need help with equations." Marcus smiled, gesturing to the empty chair. "Come here. Sweetheart, let's figure it out together." As Lily settled beside him, Tyler excused himself, leaving them to their work. That night, long after everyone slept, Marcus stood alone on the terrace one final time. The stars were brilliant, infinite, full of possibility. He thought about that rainy night a decade ago, about the skinny boy carrying his sister, about blue eyes that matched his own, about promises made and kept. He thought about Sarah, beautiful, proud, scared Sarah, who'd loved her children so fiercely that she'd sacrificed her own comfort, her own safety to protect them. "Thank you," Marcus whispered to the stars. To Sarah, to whatever force had brought Tyler and Lily into his life, thank you for trusting me with them, for giving me a second chance, for teaching me what really matters. The wind carried his words away. And maybe, just maybe, they reached wherever Sarah was now. Marcus returned inside, locking the door behind him. The house was quiet but full of life, love, memory, and hope. He climbed the stairs, checking on Tyler first. His son slept peacefully, architectural plans scattered across his desk, then Lily's room, where she sprawled across her bed, still clutching a stuffed animal, despite her teenage protests that she was too old for that. Finally, his and Jennifer's bedroom, where his wife slept curled on her side, leaving space for him. Marcus slid into bed beside her. She stirred, reaching for him instinctively. "Everything okay?" she murmured. "Half asleep." "Everything's perfect," Marcus replied, pulling her close. And it was not because life was without challenge. Tyler would face setbacks in his career. Lily would navigate the storms of adolescence. Marcus and Jennifer would have disagreements and difficulties like any couple, but they would face it all together. As a family, the kind of family built not on obligation or blood alone, but on choice. On fighting for each other, on showing up day after day, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Marcus closed his eyes and for the first time in his entire life felt completely at peace. His last thought before sleep claimed him was simple: "I'm home." Sometimes the greatest riches arrive disguised as vulnerability. Sometimes redemption begins with a simple act of compassion. And sometimes the family we choose is just as powerful, perhaps more powerful, than the family we're given. This is a story about second chances, about love that endures even in absence, about the simple, profound truth that it's never too late to do what's right. Because in the end, what we accumulate means nothing compared to whom we love, and love always finds its way home. What touched your heart most in this story? Have you ever been given a second chance that changed everything? A family isn't just who we're born to, it's who we choose to fight for every single day.